Okay. Okay. You can hear me okay?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you well.
Okay, that's great. Um, would you like to wait for a few minutes to see if anyone else comes? Or you just want to
We can
start?
get started, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay.
So we read until 26, right?
Uh, 25.
25. Okay.
Would you like to start with the prayers?
Yeah, just 1 second, Prabhu. I'm just posting on the WhatsApp group that we have started reading now.
Oh, okay.
मम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनित्य नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
Okay.
Prabhu, yeah, if you
Did you
want to.
want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. This is verse 25, by the way.
Can I read it?
Okay.
Oh, Hare Krishna,
Sure.
Ruchi Mataji, you join.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
feeling very disturbed. I was sick for the last 2-3 days with flu or something. So I just
Oh,
want to do some service because I'm feeling very low. So just want to read.
oh, that's awesome.
Yes, please go
Thank
ahead.
you for joining.
Yeah, I've been thinking. I don't feel well when I don't join. So anyways, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Text 25. Did we see the prayers or
Yeah, we just said the prayers.
okay? Whatsa vanaspatayah pratagra samayam payah kiryo him vadasta sanana dhatun swasanushu. Translation. The trees made a calf out of a banyan tree, and thus they derived milk in the form of many delicious juices. The mountains transformed the Himalayas into a calf, and they milked a variety of minerals into a pot made of the pet peaks of hills. Text 36. Sarve Swamuk Mukhvatsen Swe Swe Patre Prathak Payaha Sarvakam Dukam Prithvim Duduha Prit Bhavitam. Translation. The planet Earth supplied everyone his respective food. During the time of King Prithu, the earth was fully under the control of the king. Thus, all the inhabitants of the earth could
Sorry.
food supply,
What happened?
creating, it's moving up and down, by
Sorry.
creating various types of calves and putting their particular types of milk in various pots for pot. This is evidence that the Lord supplies food to everyone. As confirmed in the Vedas, Eka Bahunam Yo Vidati Kaman. Although the Lord is one, He is supplying all necessities to everyone through the medium of the planet Earth. There are my phone, I'm reading through my phone so it doesn't read the whole thing. The different varieties of living entities in different planets, and they all derive their eatables from their planets in different forms. On the basis of these descriptions, how can one assume that there is no living entity on the moon? Every moon is earthly, being composed of the 5 elements. Every planet produces different types of food according to the needs of its residents. According to the Vedic Shastras, it is not true that the moon does not produce food or that no living entity is living there. So can I say about my understanding of the purport? Or
Yes.
thank you. I haven't spoken in a long time and I was sick and I haven't been. So I just thanks for giving me the opportunity. So yes, this is a very nice verse. The first verses I couldn't really understand about the trees made a calf out of the banyan tree, and thus they derived milk in the form of many delicious juices. And the mountains transferred the Himalayas into a calf, and they milked a variety of minerals into a pot made of the peaks of hills. So yes, according to my understanding, this verse in the second verse where it says Eko Bahunam something, it is very clear indicative of the fact which we have read and heard in many instances, that God is one superpower, and we, according to our ability to receive that greatness, we received according to our, I was just hearing something which says like we receive according to our capacity. So it's not like why we think why this sun gets to be a demigod, this one gets to be a demigod, I don't get to be a demigod, I'm just a human being. One person thinks why I am so poor, I keep thinking why am I so sick all the time, and other people enjoy good health, they keep doing whatever they want and they never suffer any consequences for anything that they might have done. But it is according to our worth and our capacity, and also the sanskaras of many lifetimes. We have to all reap what we sow, and we all have to um, learn the lessons that we are on earth for. And that's why so that is the thing where God supplies uh, eventually to every entity, living or non-living. Why I say non-living is because we might think that how it is written that on moon and other planets there is no life, because we are limited in our perception. Like when we used to read, I used to read with Leela Manjari, we have read many times that we have imperfect senses. Our senses are very limited. We cannot see. Even in physics we have read that there are many ultraviolet rays and wavelengths that we cannot see or hear. That does not mean that they don't exist. They do exist. So similarly, we are at a certain vibration level of the earth, of Mother Earth, and she is always giving, giving, giving. And it is a very fortunate birth to be born on the earth as a human, because that represents the most perfect form of living entity as we know it. But it might be true how we see in Star Trek and all other things, that there are people living on Mars who are more intelligent. There are other celestial beings living on other planets which have far more technological capabilities and intellectual prowess than us. So it is clearly we are limited in our beliefs, like a frog in a well, thinking that this is all there is to it. But books like Bhagavatam are spoken from the divine realm, and that's why they open our eyes to the divine possibilities of life. And also, one thing I keep saying is like what I have to also put into my life is all this knowledge that Bhagavatam gives shows us, or in any knowledge, any branch of knowledge, even if it is um, the material knowledge, that also shows us how little we know and how small and insignificant we are in front of the vastness of this universe. So we are like this imperfect beings trying to make sense of it all, and it is beyond us. The only um, solution is in trying to surrender to God and pray to Him, so that we can at least justify this human form of life that He has so kindly given us, and also the justify the opportunities of like hearing and being able to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, something which is beyond so many people who don't have the opportunity because of many reasons. So we have been given this opportunity, so we should try to make the best use of it and get rid of our imperfections. Um so yes, that is my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruchi Mataji. Thank you for sharing.
Mm. Yeah, it was not very clear in my phone. My eyesight has become weak, so I can't really see what's written in the purport. I just said according to one or two lines that I understood.
Mm.
Can I make a comment about this verse?
Yes, Prabhu.
It was interesting because the last pot that was made was the transformation of a banyan tree, and these delicious juices came from that.
Sorry, can you repeat that, because I cannot I couldn't understand what you were saying. Hello?
Hare Krishna.
Leela Manjari, could you hear? I couldn't
No, here, I think we cannot hear him.
He was saying something about Jesus. I couldn't
No, he said banyan tree.
Oh, I'm possibly. Why isn't he saying anything? I don't know. What did he say about the banyan tree?
I think we lost him.
I just said the last part was like
We lost connection with him.
I just said the last part is like that we are very lucky to read the Srimad Bhagavatam because not everybody gets the opportunity to read it since because of different reasons we have at least gotten this opportunity to read the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not available to everybody. That's all I said. I thought he said something about not being fair to Jesus or something. Hello?
Hare Krishna, Ruchi Mataji. Yeah, I think we lost him.
Did you hear what he said?
No, I couldn't hear.
What did he say about?
No, I heard only like 2 words, something about the banyan tree. So I don't know what comment he was trying to make.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we lost you. What did you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Something happened and the meeting timed out for some reason, so I got cut off. I didn't realize I got cut off. I was just talking about the 25th verse, but I'm not sure how much you heard though.
Just 2 words before you got disconnected. So we didn't really hear anything much.
Okay. What I was saying was it was interesting to read in that verse 25 that the trees used the banyan tree. They chose the banyan tree to derive delicious juices. And the mountains used the Himalayas and they got minerals from that and put it into the pot. So it's just really interesting how this all comes together. That the minerals are stored in the peaks of hills, for instance, and scientists will come along and say, well, that was because of evolution that these minerals came about. This happened or that happened. There was a volcano or whatever. But actually, we can see here that Bhagavatam is telling us that actually, after the earth was ordered to give these resources by King Prithu, this was the process that each of them created a calf and milked her according to what they wanted, and the earth supplied all that. So it's just really, I find it really interesting to see how this all sort of the whole process came about, and the way different personalities were used to achieve that. But in regards to verse 26, it's also interesting to see this part in the purport where Prabhupada talks about the moon planet, that on the moon there is food and there are living entities, but the moon planet that the Vedas is talking about and Prabhupada's talking about is the actual moon planet, the celestial moon planet, where there are living entities and you know, versus the planet that the astronauts went to, which wasn't the moon. They just call it the moon, but it's just a barren planet. And I remember hearing or reading that Prabhupada actually said that there was Rahu's head. So they never actually went to the real moon planet. And because the moon, it says here, every moon is earthly. and is composed of the 5 elements. So that means that these pastimes here that we're talking about also apply to all the different planets also. I'm not sure if this same process happened on all those different planets, but it's just interesting to see how that it's the same for all planets, or for every moon at least. Yeah, it's just interesting to read about all this and the way that different personalities were involved and what they milked and how it all came about. You know, according to the scientists, it's something completely opposite. And that's the importance of the Bhagavatam and why Srila Prabhupada really pushed to get it almost finished, so that the intellectuals of the world could understand, according to the Vedic version, what actually happened in a very scientific and precise way. Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to make a quick comment about that.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing. It's very interesting that you said they went to Rahu's head. I never heard that before.
What went to Rahu's head? Can somebody tell me?
Well, according to Prabhupada, they asked him about Rahu. Well, they asked him about the moon and why does the moon block the sun in an eclipse, in a solar eclipse. And Prabhupada, they asked him, is it Rahu's head? And he said, yes, it's Rahu's head. Rahu's causing disturbances by blocking the sun. So he was indicating that the moon that they talk about, that they travel to, is actually the head of Rahu. And that's why there's nothing there, because it's not actually the moon planet. Otherwise, there'd be resources like there are here, but it's just completely desolate place.
Well, I think that there is a correction here, because in the eclipse, it is true that the moon is being eclipsed by Rahu or troubled by Rahu, but it does not mean that Rahu is occupying the moon. Only like it was a boon given by God Vishnu to Rahu that during the eclipse, he will be able to get some benefits from the moon and the sun respectively during their eclipses, because so the moon planet still exists independently and it is troubled only at the time of eclipses.
Okay, when you say the moon planet, you mean?
Yeah, the moon
the
planet is a separate entity, because when Lord Vishnu was distributing the nectar to the to all the divine planets, the sun, moon, and everything, then Rahu came to test why he was not attracted by the female form of Lord Vishnu, and so he came to test whether he came to test whether that to test whether the demons would also be getting it or not, and like if he gets nectar, then he would be able to help the demons. And so he was the head of the demons, by the way. So he was the chief what you call commander. And so he got to so he took the shape of a divine god, form of divine god, and he sat between the sun and the moon. And then as soon as he got a drop of nectar, which like nothing happens by chance according to me, so yes, he was maybe destined for that drop of nectar. And as soon as he got it, the moon planet complained to the sun, like indicated to the sun that he's not one of us. He's not here. How did he get in between? He was not here before. And then the sun immediately told Lord Vishnu in the form of Mohini, and so in the form of Lord Vishnu, Mohini, he cut off the head of Rahu, and yeah, he cut the head of Rahu. So, but there was a drop that went into him, and that's why he became immortal. And to date, then he is, since it was fair enough according to him and according to Lord Vishnu, then it was agreed that during the eclipses he would get benefits from both the sun and the moon god, which weren't supposed to complain about it. So so that was the whole story. So the moon planet exists independent of Rahu, but only during the eclipses it is troubled, both the earth and so, like, there are sometimes we see that we think that, like ants, for instance, or there are such minute creatures, literally like which are even invisible to the eye. But you can see during the coronavirus how small is a virus. You cannot even measure it. There is no appropriate device by which you can even measure the size, because it is so tiny, and that one virus can destroy the body of a human being. And so that is why we should not, like I'm sorry, I don't mean to say as in we, like I'm not trying to preach to you, but I'm just saying that our knowledge, according to me, is very limited. And so I personally think that like even in the tiniest of the tiny, like a small ant can cause havoc to an elephant. If it is put in the trunk, the elephant will go crazy if it bites him. So it's like that small entities which we cannot see by our eyes might have greater potency than we might have, which is proved, like literally proved, that a small virus can cause the entire planet to be wiped off if not properly taken care of. So it's really not the size of the entity, but the power endowed by the divine God himself. So even on the moon, if there are entities existing which we cannot see, they have their whole ecosystem, like a small ant colony or a bee colony has their own ecosystem, which seems very insignificant, but they have their own laws and different division of labor, like you must be knowing. So so we cannot just assume that those entities are not significant, or in the subtle realm they might be having certain vibrational energies and sustaining themselves just based on vibrations and the subtle environment. Because the moon because the moon got the nectar, so they are even luckier than us, maybe, because they say that the Pitralok, where the forefathers go to the moon, so because they feed on the nectar then, so they are even actually luckier than us, because we are eating like food from the earth, but they are eating divine nectar. So that's why you can imagine that our Mother Earth is still like, but in the moon, if it has divine nectar, then the food produced by planet moon would be nectar, ambrosial nectar itself, and the subtle bodies feeding on that nectar would be much more, I should say, potent and beautiful, and much more in a higher state of vibration than we might be, because we can definitely not equate it by the size or the form of a living entity, how like potent it is.
Yeah, I was just referring to the what Prabhupada was saying here, that the according to the scientists, the moon is that planet that goes in front of the sun when we experience an eclipse here on Earth. The moon, that what they call the moon, that planet out there, goes between the Earth and the sun and causes an eclipse. But that's not actually the moon. That's just a planet. And Prabhupada said it was Rahu's head that was making disturbances, and it does that kind of activity. But what he's saying here is that the moon actually does have living entities and does produce food. So
Oh, I'm
what I
sorry.
was trying to,
I did misunderstand you then. I'm sorry about
yeah,
that.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that Prabhupada mentions that, because they had a whole controversy about this. Uh, that some of one particular disciple of his was convinced that they actually did go to the moon, and Prabhupada said no, they didn't go to the moon. They went to some other place, or or it was a hoax. You know, they filmed it on the desert, and then the next time they actually went to that planet out there, which is not the moon. But
Well, my question is one that I have to ask you. Let's say we did go to the moon, then how impossible would it be to emulate that for the rich people and to set up colonies there? Because you know capitalism is the biggest. They don't think about what is right or wrong, and it's the biggest motivation behind any human endeavor. So why wouldn't, if there was a technology to go to the moon, actually there is no way that people wouldn't have gotten into it. It's like becoming immortal. Then they would be like, okay, we would just set up a colony on the moon and never die, because there is physical death
well,
on Earth. Who knows what might happen? So that's not possible. If it
mm,
would have been possible, then people would have already been there and set up colonies. People have so much money. The nations have so much money. US has so much technological advancement that if there was something like that, we would, or trust me, we would already be there. I mean, one leak of knowledge on how to, let's say, any amount of is patented so far, is like copied so fast that uh, like within no time the whole entire earth is using that technology, like the internet or whatever. So if there
mm.
was a technology like that, uh, people who are making like trillions, they would want to be immortal, go to the moon and try it out. That would be their life's mission, and they would already be like how much money they would make out of it, just like because it doesn't cost anything by fuel wise. So why would they not have already done it then, if it was true? That's a common sense question according to me.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, even if they go to that planet out there and set up a colony, they're not living in their natural environment, because they have to have all these protections and air air pressure, uh, places where because there's no gravity there. So, they're not. It's like a fish trying to live out of water. It's an artificial situation, and that's why they have all these plans to go there and set up colonies, because even they're talking about Mars, in 2035 or something, the first human will be born on Mars, in a totally artificial uh, situation. So, they're trying to escape what they've done here on Earth, which is create this hellish environment. They're trying to escape that, go to another planet, and create like a more peaceful, better situation. But ultimately, it's going to be the same anyway. They'll have the same problems. But you know, that's their plans. Prabhupada always said that they have so many plans, but the material energy will just defeat them in the end.
Yes, because if it was even possible, forget about colonization, if it was possible to travel, people would have done it by now and advertised it in the whole world and made money out of it.
Yeah,
So
I mean, they had the first commercial flight to outer space, not to the moon, but to outer space, away from the Earth's gravity. They just did that recently, so that they're sort of working on it, you know. But the thing is, the point is that they're going to a place that's desolate. It's not actually the moon. It's not the place that we call the moon, or what the Shastras refer to as the moon. It's just a barren planet that they're trying to use to set up another world, you know, better than this world. But ultimately, you know, they'll be defeated by that. All very interesting. Okay, I don't know. Do you want to continue, or we'll
you can,
read the next verse?
no, you can read the next verse. Thanks for
Go to the next
reading.
verse? Okay, let's go to the next verse. Okay, verse 27. Evam pritvadaya pritvam pritvim anadasvanam atmana dohavatsadi bedena shira bedam kurudvaha. Translation: My dear Vidura, chief of the Kurus, in this way, King Prithu and all the others who subsist on food created different types of calves and milked out of them respective eatables. Thus they received their various foodstuffs, which were symbolized as milk. So that's a basic sort of summing up of the whole situation. I guess we could read the next verse. Okay. Verse 28. Tato mahi pati prita sarvakama dugam pritu duhitridve kakareman bremna dukir vatsala. Translation: Thereafter King Prithu was very satisfied with the planet Earth, for she sufficiently supplied all food to various living entities. Thus he developed an affection for the planet Earth, just as if she were his own daughter. Verse 29. Churnayan svadanus kotya giri kutani rajarat bumandalam idam vainya prayas chakre samam vibhu. Translation: After this, the king of all kings, Maharaj Prithu, leveled all rough places on the surface of the globe by breaking up the hills with the strength of his bow. By his grace, the surface of the globe almost became flat. Purport: By his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Generally, the mountains and hilly portions of the earth are made flat by the striking of thunderbolts. Generally, this is the business of King Indra of the heavenly planets. But King Prithu, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, did not wait for King Indra to break up the hills and mountains, but did so himself by using his strong bow. Yeah, this is interesting, this part where King Prithu doesn't actually wait for King Indra to do that. He actually supersedes King Indra because he's a great devotee of Krishna and empowered to do these types of things and empowered by the Lord. So he can actually supersede a demigod like King Indra and decide to do that service himself. And so that's what he did. And it's interesting also that it talks about the surface of the globe almost becoming flat. So that was to facilitate agriculture, as we read before a few verses back, to make it easier to actually grow produce and grow grains, etc., so they could continue with sacrifices. But this point here is interesting, that King Prithu superseded King Indra, and because of his devotion, his high devotion to the Lord, he could do that, and with the strength of his bow. So that shows you his power, you know, that he could just flatten the globe like that, which is normally done by thunderbolts. Well, I don't know if I have anything else to say. If someone else has got anything else to say, we're getting to almost reaching 5:45 your time, I suppose.
I'm good. Thank you for the nice discussion.
Okay. Will we just leave it there and start at verse 30 next time?
Ruchi Mataji, is that okay? Can we pause here for today and we resume tomorrow?
Yes, I guess it's fine. Since you said you can only be there till 5:45, right?
Yes. Unless you want to, it's just a couple of verses until the end of the chapter. If you wanted to continue to the end of the chapter, we could do that.
It's not yeah.
Will you be able to listen, Leela Manji?
I'll have to go in a minute or two, but like I can leave the screen on for both of you. Yeah.
I think, okay, well, maybe we'll just leave it for next time then.
Yes,
might be better.
because yes, then you can also be a part of it. Yeah, and so can
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That will be nice
Okay.
if I can hear. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.